Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy's up in front. This is episode 211 of Tottenham Walks. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things that you love with those that you love doing them with. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And guys, it's 48 hours now since the season finished. Did you think we'd have any announcements out? I didn't really, but there was a small, tiny iota of hope that still was within me, that maybe, just maybe, Tottenham had something up their sleeve. That maybe all of the information that had been coming out from the media over the last month or two regarding failed managerial bids, talks breaking down over compensation packages that won't be paid, or around the inability to answer seemingly fairly easy questions regarding who would be a director of football and how much influence would they and the manager have over transfer dealings. We don't really know the truth behind any of those conversations, and so I was hoping that maybe it was all misinformation, and maybe they already had everything somewhat wrapped up, and that they were just paying respect to Ryan Mason's, short-term contract, similar to what's happened at Chelsea. Everyone kind of knew it was Pochettino, but until that contract was signed, I personally held out hope, again, only a glimmer, that Tottenham could have gazumped Chelsea at the last minute. In reality, Chelsea were just waiting to the end of the season to pay respect to Frank Lampard's short-term contract, and he was announced yesterday, so we can chalk him off the shortlist. Arne Slot was another one. I was standing in this very position when I said on the last video, if there's a tiny hope that we can get Pochettino, Slot, or Nagelsmann, then that's where I want my eggs to go into, one of those baskets. Within an hour of uploading it, Arne Slot had been announced as having his contract extended at Feyenoord. So we can chalk him off the list. Nagelsmann is still available, and there's rumours that actually the gardening leave period that he's on stops in the summer, in June, and that after that, there's no compensation to be paid to Bayern Munich. I don't know if that's true or not, and if it is true, then that's again where I'm now hanging my hat and hoping that Tottenham can figure out a way to get him over the line. Promise whatever needs to be promised, give him the influence he needs and get him in, because I'm really not that motivated by the other guys that are out there. There was an article last week from The Athletic who was trying to temper the expectations of Tottenham fans, saying, we should be a little bit more patient. There really isn't that much of a rush to get this managerial decision made. It's not anything like the Nuno situation where we were already in pre-season training and there was no manager to allow the team to learn the methodologies, etc. And it was at panic stations. In reality, and I'd take the point that the Athletic are making, that once the season finishes, the players have a short break, then they go on international duty, and then they have a longer holiday after that, and they don't come back to pre-season training until almost the middle of July. And so the Athletic make the point that as long as the manager's in place by then there's no reason to worry. Now, I personally disagree with that, because I think that there's an opportunity cost. You see in the news today, for example, Manuel Ugarte is now in meaningful conversations with Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain. This is a player that I've been talking about for months. I think he would be an amazing monster number 6 for whoever gets him. He could be the next Casemiro, the next Rodri. I think he's going to hit the ground running and be a superb player in the Premier League. Putting aside his ridiculously bad disciplinary record, he will be a brilliant player to watch for whichever team manages to get him. It's probably likely to be Chelsea or PSG at the moment. Liverpool were also involved, and obviously Tottenham were mentioned as front-runners for him a few months ago, but absent having a director of football and a manager, how can you really go and have these conversations with players? And I feel like that Ugarte is not going to be the last player that Tottenham could and should have been having their name in the hat for, that can't, because we don't have a manager, and without a manager and a director of football, the club don't know whether or not Ugarte would be desirable to them. At the moment, you have 3 teams that have been relegated in the last 48 hours, or with the case of Southampton just before that. Southampton, Leeds and Leicester. Every one of those teams has got players that Tottenham could look to support their efforts next season. Now, I'm going to do a deeper dive into this on a live stream. I was going to do that live stream yesterday, but something happened with work. a live stream this week on that. But just to give you obviously we know about players like Yuri Tillemans or James Maddison from Leicester, Lavia from Southampton, Bella Kotchap from Southampton, James Ward-Prowse, Ilan Melier from Leeds, maybe as a goalkeeper that Tottenham might look to. Maybe a few other players. Jack Harrison Tottenham have been linked with. What about Nonto and Koch, however you say his last name, the centre-back that Tottenham were linked with just yesterday? All of those players at Leeds, Leicester and Southampton will not be short of suitors. They're good players that don't belong in the Championship. Will Tottenham be found out again, caught short, by having to wait 2 or 3 more weeks for a managerial decision and a director of football decision before we can get in? And can you really buy the players that you want to buy before you've made decisions and actually found new homes or torn up the contracts of the players that you don't need? We've got a chock-a-block squad. Remember, we had to tear up Matt Doherty's contract because we couldn't loan out any more of the people we didn't want to make room in the squad for the players that we still don't think are good enough anyway at Tottenham just this season. There's so much work to do, so many chicken and the eggs. And to me, whilst I understand the Athletics' point that the manager and the director of football, etc., as long as they're there for the start of pre-season training, then the current squad won't be without a plan. But we don't want the current squad to be at pre-season training. We want a very different looking squad. And I don't think that squad decisions can be made without these 2 figureheads. So who's it going to be? Are Tottenham really going to pay for Ruben Amorim? Probably not. If they didn't want to pay for Arne Slot, I don't think they're going to pay for Ruben Amorim a similar amount, maybe even more in compensation. As I say, if it's true that Nagelsmann doesn't have any compensation to pay Bayern Munich after the summer, then he's probably worth waiting for. But still, you could have conversations with him now and unofficially say, who do you and don't you want? And we'll go and get those things done without you. Right? You don't have to have him officially in place before you can make the moves, as long as you know that he's officially going to be here later, if it comes down to that technical contractual compensation fee that's the cause of the delay. And if not Nagelsmann, then who else? Well, it'll be someone out of contract, and with Enrique away at Napoli, then it's probably going to be Potter or Brendan Rodgers. And if it's one of those 2, then what is stopping us from getting the conversations had and done? Where is the movement, Tottenham? Where is it? I love the close season. As much as I hate not seeing Tottenham play, I love the excitement. I love the fact that you go into the early stages of it with such optimism around what you're going to see, that the amount of players that are going to be linked. And of course, 90% of them aren't going to be realistic at all, but you can have that belief. But right now, the most fun period of the window, which is at the very start, to me, it's being dampened by the inability to foresee logical conclusions to any of these transfers, absent the manager and the director of football. So come on, Daniel! Stop messing around. Shit or get off the pot. Make some movements. Or get out of the way and let someone else do it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.